Welcome to News Beacon, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Detroit's rise was built on steel and sweat, a city forged in the fires of industry and the determination of its people. In the early days, the clang of hammers and the roar of furnaces echoed across neighborhoods, drawing workers from all walks of life to the promise of steady work and a better future. Its skyline was shaped by towering smokestacks and endless assembly lines, symbols of progress and prosperity. The city's silhouette became a testament to human ingenuity, where innovation met hard labor, and dreams were built one steel beam at a time. For decades, steel mills along the Rouge River powered Detroit's prosperity, their furnaces burning day and night. These mills didn't just produce steel, they forged the backbone of America's infrastructure, from bridges and skyscrapers to the very cars that rolled off Detroit's assembly lines. The city's middle class grew strong, supported by the steady hum of industry. The auto industry and steel mills thrived together, each fueling the other's growth. Steel workers and auto workers became the lifeblood of Detroit, their livelihoods intertwined, employing thousands and creating a sense of unity and shared purpose that defined the city's character. A job in the mills meant more than a paycheck. It meant stability, pride, and a legacy passed down through generations. Families built their lives around the rhythms of shift work, and children grew up hearing stories of resilience and hard-won success. The mills were more than workplaces, they were communities, binding neighbors and families together. But as decades passed, global competition, automation, and sweeping economic shifts battered Detroit's industrial core. Once bustling factories fell silent, and the proud steel mills that had defined the city's skyline began to close their doors, leaving behind empty shells and uncertain futures. The steel sector, once mighty and seemingly invincible, now faces a crisis unlike any before. Entire communities feel the impact as jobs vanish, and the security that once came with them fades away. Recent collapses threaten not just jobs, but the city's very identity. For many, the loss is deeply personal, a blow to the pride and purpose that generations of Detroiters have carried. For Detroit's steelworkers, the stakes are more than economic, they're cultural, woven into the city's soul. Each face tells a story of perseverance, of families who have weathered storms together, and of a community bound by shared sacrifice. The loss of steel would be a blow to the heart of Detroit's history, erasing not just jobs but the memories, traditions, and sense of belonging that have defined the city for over a century. The fate of these workers is the fate of a chapter in American industry, a story of resilience, struggle, and the enduring spirit of a city that refuses to be forgotten. In recent years, sweeping changes in federal environmental policy have dramatically altered the landscape for American industry. Nowhere is this more evident than in Michigan, where the steel sector has long been a backbone of the state's economy and identity. These policy shifts have fundamentally reshaped the playing field for Michigan's steel industry, impacting everything from daily operations to long-term planning. Under the Trump administration, the implementation of stricter emission standards was delayed, effectively allowing mills to release more pollutants into the air. This move sparked immediate concern among health advocates and local communities who worried about the long-term effects on air quality and public health. The administration's stated goal was to reduce costs for manufacturers and boost the competitiveness of American steel. However, critics argue that these rollbacks set back years of progress toward cleaner, more efficient steelmaking and risked the health of workers and nearby residents. At the same time, federal subsidies for coal further complicated the situation. By incentivizing the use of older, dirtier production methods, these policies made it harder for the industry to transition to cleaner alternatives. Meanwhile, a significant portion of U.S. steel is now produced using recycled scrap in electric arc furnaces. These modern facilities are not only cleaner and more energy efficient, but also position American steel to compete in a global market that increasingly values sustainability. However, by continuing to prop up coal, the government risked making steel produced with traditional polluting methods overseas cheaper than American steel made from recycled materials. This created a competitive disadvantage for U.S. producers who were trying to innovate and modernize. This paradox left American steelmakers caught in a difficult position, torn between outdated incentives that encouraged pollution and global trends that demanded cleaner, more sustainable production. To make matters worse, grants and funding for cleaner technology research were canceled or reduced, undermining both innovation and efforts to protect public health. This stifled the development of new solutions that could have helped the industry adapt. Today, the U.S. steel industry finds itself facing a world that increasingly values sustainability and environmental responsibility. Yet, due to recent policy decisions, it risks falling behind international competitors who are investing heavily in green technology. The result is a sector struggling to modernize, caught between the pressures of global competition and the realities of outdated domestic policy, a challenge that will shape the future of Michigan's steel industry for years to come. To protect American steel, the Trump administration imposed steep tariffs on imports. The idea: make foreign steel pricier, boost domestic sales, and create jobs. But the reality was more complex. Tariffs raised steel prices, hurting industries like autos and construction. Companies faced higher costs, passing them to consumers or cutting production. Demand for steel dropped, undercutting the very mills tariffs aimed to help. Instead of a boom, American steelmakers faced shrinking orders and layoffs. The tariffs became a double-edged sword, shielding mills from imports but slashing domestic demand. Companies like Cleveland-Cliffs, once supportive, soon announced mass layoffs. The policy meant to save the industry left it more vulnerable than before. Protectionism, it turned out, came with painful, unintended consequences. The impact of these policies hit home in Michigan when Cleveland-Cliffs announced 600 layoffs at its Dearborn plant. The company blamed falling demand from automakers and a bleak outlook for steel consumption. These cuts followed similar layoffs in Minnesota, signaling a broader industry crisis. For Dearborn's workers, the news was devastating. No promise of return, just uncertainty. The plant, once a community anchor, now symbolized economic fragility. The loss rippled through local businesses and families, threatening Detroit's hard-fought recovery. For many, it felt like history repeating itself, a city once again facing the pain of industrial decline. Steel companies have responded to the downturn with drastic measures. Cleveland-Cliffs idled its Dearborn Works main steel shop and casting facilities, halting primary production to manage excess inventory. Only a skeleton crew remains, keeping finishing lines running at minimal capacity. Across the industry, similar cutbacks aim to align output with weak demand and conserve cash. These shutdowns are costly and disruptive, but seen as necessary for survival. The future of these plants and their workers now hinges on a rebound in sectors like automotive. CEO Lourenco Goncalves says production could resume if demand returns, but offers little certainty. For now, entire communities wait, hoping for a recovery that may never come. The fate of Detroit steel is tied to forces far beyond its control. The steel crisis has split opinion on Trump-era trade policies. Industry leaders like Cleveland-Cliffs and Nucor still defend tariffs as vital protection against unfair foreign competition. Yet even as they support tariffs, their companies face layoffs and weak earnings. Critics argue the policies have backfired, hurting workers, stalling innovation, and leaving the U.S. behind in the global shift to cleaner steel. Environmental advocates say delaying emissions rules and subsidizing coal only deepens the industry's woes. The debate? Double down on protectionism, or invest in modernization and sustainability? With no consensus, the industry stands at a crossroads, its future uncertain. For Detroit's steelworkers, layoffs mean more than just lost wages. They represent the loss of identity, stability, and a sense of purpose that generations have built their lives around. The clang of the factory gates closing echoes through entire neighborhoods, signaling not only the end of a shift, but the end of an era for many families. Many of these workers spent decades at Dearborn Works, forging not only steel, but also strong bonds with co-workers and their community. Their steady union jobs provided a foundation for raising families, buying homes, and planning for the future. The pride in their work was passed down through generations, becoming a cornerstone of Detroit's identity. Now, with paychecks gone, families are left staring at mounting mortgage payments and overdue bills, struggling to stretch dwindling savings. The fear of losing their homes looms large, and the search for similar work often leads to dead ends. For many, the prospect of starting over feels overwhelming. The specialized skills honed in the mills don't easily transfer to other industries, making the hunt for new careers daunting and often resulting in lower wages or part-time work. Retraining programs offer hope, but the transition is rarely smooth, and the uncertainty can be paralyzing. The emotional toll is immense. Stress, anxiety, and a deep sense of betrayal run through households. Parents worry about providing for their children, while the loss of routine and purpose weighs heavily on mental health. The ripple effects touch every member of the family. Local businesses, once bustling with customers, now struggle to survive as spending dries up. The weakening of the community fabric is visible in every shuttered storefront and empty restaurant, as the economic pain spreads far beyond the factory gates. Union leaders report widespread distress, as workers feel abandoned by both the company and government. Meetings are filled with anxious questions and few answers, as the safety net that once protected these families seems to unravel. For Detroit, these layoffs threaten to unravel years of hard-won recovery, pushing families to the brink and forcing some to leave the city they've always called home. The scars of industrial decline are etched into the landscape and the lives of those left behind. The true human cost of industrial decline is measured in sleepless nights, anxious conversations, and uncertain futures. For Detroit's families, the struggle is not just economic. It's a fight to hold on to hope in the face of overwhelming odds. As Detroit reels, hope and skepticism battle for the city's future. Some leaders, like Cleveland Cliffs CEO, believe a rebound is possible if manufacturing recovers. They imagine idled mills roaring back and workers returning to their jobs. But many workers and analysts see deeper problems. Tariffs and outdated policies have left U.S. steel uncompetitive. They warn that waiting for a comeback ignores the global shift to greener, more efficient production. For skeptics, the jobs lost may never return, and the industry risks permanent decline. The divide is stark: resilience and optimism on one side, realism and doubt on the other. Detroit's future depends on which vision prevails, and whether the industry can adapt before it's too late. Detroit's steel collapse is a harsh blow to a city built on industry. Trade wars, shifting regulations, and market turmoil have left thousands in limbo. Leaders debate protectionism versus innovation, but consensus is elusive. The real story is on the ground. Families struggling, communities fraying, and progress at risk, yet Detroit's resilience endures, etched into its people and history. The challenge now: support the displaced, invest in new skills, and build a diverse, sustainable economy. The smokestacks may be quiet, but Detroit's determination remains unbroken. The city's next chapter will be forged not just in steel, but in the strength of its people.